What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I know I'm late once again with my Love After Lockup recap. I do apologize. School started for my children today. So this weekend we were doing all the last minute school shopping, getting everything together. And then yesterday I had another open house where my kid got to go get their schedule, see their classroom, kind of walk around the school and all of that good stuff. So I just did not have the time to record the recap, but we're doing it today. It was an interesting episode. We finally get to see Daonte really go off on Nicolle. We get to find out what Jeff's secret is that he's been hiding from Anissa. We see Ray finally home. Who does he decide to ride with back from the halfway house? Well, he chose Brittany, and they are having their first day at the house. They have some guests. Who is it? Is it Brittany's mom? Is it Ray's family? We'll talk about it. Also, we see the aftermath of what happened between Doug and his family and how Rachel handled the situation. So let's get right into it, you guys. So I'm going to start off with Daonte and Nicolle. On the last episode, it ended with Nicolle meeting Daonte's mom. They had dinner at Daonte's house. She met his mom. And then Daonte took Nicolle home. When he dropped her off, there was something telling him, like, turn around, park, and just watch to see what Nicolle is going to do. So he did that. He sat there for just a few minutes, and sure enough, a car pulled right up and parked right in front of Nicolle's house. It was her ex-boyfriend, Zach. Daonte rolled right up beside them, jumped out of the car, and started yelling at Nicolle, telling her that she lied to his mom. He can't believe that she would do this after everything that he's been through. Daonte has been through a lot. And Nicolle was well aware of this, and that was one of the things that she stated previously. I know what you've been through, so I would never hurt you. And here she is, knowing what he's been through, and she's hurting him. At one point he says, give me my phone back, to which she will not. She won't hand the phone over. So he says, that's okay, I'll just deactivate it. He asked Zach, he's like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? I'm her man, like I'm her boyfriend. And Zach has no idea. Before Zach and Nicolle left for the night, Zach did give like a little confessional, and he said, I'm Zach. I'm the guy that she was dating when she got locked up 4 years ago, but we broke up, but we have kept in contact this entire time. And yes, I knew that she was talking to other men, but I had no idea that she had like a boyfriend. So I'm kind of shocked by this. So Zach knew that she was talking to men, but he did not really know about Daonte, I guess you could say. Daonte ends up throwing everything that he has purchased for Nicolle that is in the back of his car. He throws it all out on the curb. He yells a little bit, gets in his car, and he takes off. Now, once he gets down the street, I felt so bad for Daonte, because if you've ever been in this position to where you're hurt so bad to where you just cry and you're mad and you're hitting things, like I've been there before. So when I saw this with him, it broke my heart for him, because I'm like, he loves this woman. And then to go back and watch the rest of their episode, we see her just like not even giving a crap about what's happening. She gets out of the car, picks up all the things that he threw out of his trunk that he bought for her, picks them all up and just throws them in the trash can. In a confessional, she actually said that it turned her on to see Daonte mad like that. To see Daonte like getting upset, being jealous, getting mad, yelling, that turned her on. She said it's about time he finally get upset with me and stop allowing me to run all over him. And she also stated that calling her ex-boyfriend Zach over was innocent, that she had no intentions of doing anything bad or cheat on Daonte, but because of the way Daonte acted, she did end up sleeping with Zach. So she's blaming, now it's Daonte's fault that she slept with Zach because of the way that Daonte acted. Like, girl, no, you were going to sleep with that man anyways. You know you were. Don't even lie and try to throw it off on Daonte. No, ma'am. So she leaves with Zach. After she gets out of the car and puts all of the things in the garbage can, she gets back in the car and she asks Zach, she's like, so can we go somewhere? And he's like, yeah, sure, let's go. They leave. The next morning, she shows back up at her house. Her mom and stepmom are outside waiting on her. They're sitting under the carport and they're just waiting on her. She walks up and the mom asks her, like, what the heck is going on? She tells her that she woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and the dogs are barking. She looks outside and Nicolle is in the car with Zach and Daonte is flipping out in the street. She told her that she was ashamed of what she had done and that she owes Daonte an apology. The mom also said that she was impressed with Daonte, that all he did was just yell and scream and throw a few things. And I'm shocked as well, because some men, they may would have hit something or somebody or damaged something or, you know, gotten physical in some way. But Daonte did not do that, and he ended up leaving the scene before anyone else. So the mom did say that she was shocked. The mom did tell her, you know, you can't treat people like that. It's not okay. The stepmom even chimed in and said, you used him. The stepmom straight up told Nicolle, you used him. You let him buy you all these things that cost so much money. He had to work so hard for that money to buy you all those things. And then this is how you repay him. This is how you treat him. In a confessional, I say confessional because they don't do them. On Love After Lockup, they're just standing out in the yard or wherever. In a confessional, the mom says that she thinks Nicolle wants to love Daonte, but she doesn't think Nicolle is capable of loving anyone else. That's literally what she says. Basically something along the lines of, I think she wants to love him, but I don't think she's capable of loving anyone else. So that's a shock. She said something like that in the past as well. So that's a shock to hear her own mother say, like, I don't think she's capable of loving anyone else other than herself. The stepmom tells her as well, you owe him an apology. You used him. It wasn't right what you did. And now you owe him an apology. They go inside. They sit down for a minute and they talk for a little bit longer, just telling her it wasn't okay. You've treated him so badly. He could have reacted way worse. You have to do better. You owe him an apology. And she says, you're right. I owe him an apology. And she goes to take a shower. What's crazy is before she gets in the shower, or maybe it was afterwards and she just didn't remove her makeup. I'm not really sure. She has a towel wrapped around her, but she still has makeup all over her face. She is texting Tia. So right after her mom and her stepmom tell her, like, you're wrong for treating Daonte this way, you need to apologize, she's texting another ex, making plans to see this ex for the next weekend. So it's just wild. She has no regard for Daonte. She has no care that she hurt him. And I'm wondering, Daonte, why didn't you turn the phone off? Then she wouldn't be able to text anybody. The first thing you should have done was jump on that AT&T app or Verizon app or whatever network y'all have and shut that girl's phone off immediately. I would have got to the nearest stop sign and turned that girl's phone off. That's what I would have did. Absolutely. I can't wait to see next week's episode, because from the trailer or the clip for next week's episode, it seems like she's in a hotel room with another man and Daonte rolls up and catches her. So that's what we got to look forward to next week with Daonte and Nicolle. Let's move on to Stan and Lisa. So they are split up again. They've gotten to another fight. The first fight, the first night, she's out. She stays at a hotel. Now, the second fight, they come home from eating, making amends. He gets pulled over. They get to the house. She leaves again. So she's been staying at a hotel. She says she's been out of prison for like a week. She had about $3,500 saved up and she's running out of money. She's at the hotel and she's sitting on the bed and she says, I'm running out of money. I'm running out of options. So she calls Stan and she tells him that he needs to come over, or she would like for him to come over so they could talk. She says they've been together, or they've had this relationship for 8 months, and she doesn't want to just throw that away. She wants to see if they can fix it. Now, I'm obviously wondering if it's because she was running out of money, if that's why she actually called him. You know, she's the one that said it. She's running out of money. She's running out of options. So she calls Stan. Stan agrees to come over to the hotel. He comes over a short while later and they sit down and they talk about what's going on. She tells him that she had no idea that things would go this way, the way that they went, that she was expecting it to be different. But his anger gets the best of him, and that if they're going to be together, he's got to calm down with his anger. Like, he cannot be getting mad like that all of the time and telling her to leave, because that's just going to cause issues. Also, she is paroled out to Stan's house, so she needs to be there. They make amends. Stan agrees that he will work on his anger, and they head back to his house. On the way to his house, they talk about how they're going to try to work on things. Also, Lisa tells Stan that she's just never been an affectionate type of person. she realizes that he is, like, he's always wanting to hug and kiss and hold hands. And she says, that's just not me. You know, I'll try to work on it, and you try to work on maybe not being so affectionate, so we can try to meet in the middle somewhere. They get to the house, and they pop some champagne. He cooks some steaks for them. While they're at dinner eating these steaks, she's kind of talking dirty to Stan about how she needs to relieve some stress. When he gets done eating, she says, you ate fast. You must be ready to get down to the basement. Now, down in the basement, she calls that dungeon time, because he has like a stray jacket that is like a black jacket, and it looks like it hangs from something. And she says she puts him in it, and Stan likes what she has to give, and they have a good old time. So she's making all these dirty jokes as they're eating dinner. After dinner, they drink a little bit of champagne, and they head down to the basement, aka dungeon, to get their freak on, if you will. So the clip for their segment for next week's episode, we see them at a car dealership. I don't know what the year, make, or model of this car was, but it looked like a yellow sports car, I do believe. And Stan is saying, if I put the money down on this car, does that mean we're taking our relationship to the next level? And in a confessional, Lisa says, I haven't really been 100% honest with Stan. So she has a secret from Stan. I don't know if she's got another man. I don't know if she has no plans on really being with him, and that's her secret. But he's trying to get her a car, and he's like, look, if I get you this car, does that mean committed relationship, engagement, something solid for us, or what? And she's like, I kind of have a secret. So next we have Rachel and Doug. So their scene ended last week, where they're at Doug's parents' house, and his sisters are there. One of his sisters kept Dougie while he was in jail for the majority of the time, and she found some of Dougie's old letters, and she's saying, hey, I'll go get them. He's saying how horrible his life was. I should go get them and we can read them. And Dougie says, no, don't do that. Do not go get those letters. If you do, I'll never talk to you again. And Doug tells his sister, yeah, go get them. Go get them. I want to read them. And Dougie gets really upset. His other sister, the one with like the purple hair, I forget their names. I should have looked to double check. But the one with like the pinkish purple hair tells Doug, she's like, listen, our other sister has been really mean to Dougie. She treats him like crap. I'm not okay with it. You shouldn't be okay with it. And that really sets Doug off. He's like, you did nothing for Dougie when I was in jail. She did. So nobody's going to tell me that she has a problem with him or that she mistreated him, because she was the only one that stood up and took care of him. So don't tell me nothing. It literally ends up to where they get into this big argument. Dougie screams and tells everyone to stop. He goes to walk towards Rachel's car, and Doug is telling him to stop. He's like, nope, stop, come here, come here. And little Dougie tells Big Doug, F you. I'm ready to go. He's like, F you, I'm leaving. And he goes and he gets in Rachel's car. Now, Big Doug walks over to the car, and he's trying to talk to little Dougie. While he's trying to talk to little Dougie, the sister, the one with the purplish pink hair, she's telling Rachel, she's like, you need to get away from him. If you're going to stay with him, don't bring him back to Kalamazoo, because he's going to get in trouble. He's going to be back in jail in no time. I promise you, he's going to be trouble. And Rachel, I was kind of shocked, because like most women in these situations are men. When you tell them this about their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, they really don't want to hear it. They're just like, no, we're good. I think he's good. Rachel was very like, what do you mean? What do I need to be worried about? Like, what do you think he's going to do? And then she said, I'm telling you, he's going to mistreat you. This is who he is. He's going to screw up again. I give it 60 days. He's going to be in jail. And Rachel kind of shook her head like, okay, I got it. Like, I hear what you're saying. I don't feel like most people would do that. Most people would be like, no, I don't believe you. But Rachel, she listened, she took it in, she asked some questions, and she shook her head like, okay, all right, I got this, you know. Doug, when he was over at the car talking to little Dougie said, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to Rachel. I'll only talk to Rachel. Leave me alone. And then Big Doug kind of mocked him and was like, oh, he'll only talk to Rachel. Rachel felt that this was a good time for Doug to try to fix the situation. But little Dougie didn't want to talk to his dad. They all decided to leave just so everything could kind of calm down. Rachel said in a confessional, she's like, I really feel like I need to get little Dougie and Big Doug out of the situation. Like, we're not even supposed to be here, and now look what it's turned into. I need to get them home. So they leave, and as they are leaving, they're in the car, and Rachel tells Doug, she's like, I don't even know who this is. Like, I don't know this side of you, and I don't like it. The way you spoke to your son was not okay. The way you spoke to your sister was not okay. The way you acted towards me, not okay. This is not anything that is okay, and it has to change. The way you handled your son, not okay. And Big Doug said, did you hear him say F you to me? And she said, yes, he was expressing himself. Like, I did hear that. And Big Doug basically said, I'm the adult. I'm demanding that he respect me. He will not talk to me that way. I yell, I scream, I get angry, and that's just the way that it is. When I was little Dougie's age, if my dad and another man had gotten into an argument and I would have stepped up in the middle of it, my dad would have handled me. That's what I know, that's what I'm used to, and that's how I am. And Rachel told him, it's not the way you're gonna be. You can't be that way. That is your son. You can't talk to him that way. In a confessional, Rachel said that Doug treats Dougie like an inmate, or like someone, you know, that's in jail, and he's like the warden or something to that effect, you know, the way that he treats him. She says, we have to get on the same page. It has to get better, because this is not going to be good. It's not, we can't fix this. We can't, if this is the way it is. Dougie in the back, he said, like, I didn't know this is how you were going to be. I didn't know you were going to come home and then talk to your family that way. I didn't know you were going to yell at your family. I didn't know you were going to tell your family that you don't need them. And Big Doug said, I don't need them. And little Dougie said, but I do. I do need them. So I'm upset that you spoke to them that way. They stopped at a gas station, and Big Doug went in. And when he did, Rachel got out of the front, and she got in the back with little Dougie, and she hugged him. And little Dougie whispered and said something to the effect of, this isn't what I was expecting him to be like. And Rachel whispered back and said, you and me both. Like, this isn't what she was expecting either. So she's even shocked at this behavior. Later on, they get home, or I think it was maybe the next day when they get home. They're sitting in the back, and they're having this conversation. And she's saying, if you continue to act this way, the little spark that is left in Dougie, we will take that from him. It will not be there anymore. She says that maybe they need to go to like therapy to help with their communication. And Big Doug says that that's why he has Rachel. He's like, that's what I have you for, to kind of tell me what to do. And Rachel says, you don't listen to me. And he says, if I don't listen to you, what makes you think I'm going to listen to a family therapist or anyone like that? I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that. And he says, when I was Dougie's age, I had a problem. I was sent to all these people. None of them knew what to do with me. So they sent me home with a bottle of Ritalin that I never took. And then he says in a confessional, the problem wasn't that he needed medication or anything like that. He just needed to be loved by his family. He needed his parents to spend time with him. That was his only issue. And I guess that's what he thinks that he needs to do with Doug, is he needs to spend more time with him, but to discipline him. And I agree, but not the way that he's doing it. Like, yes, as parents, we have to teach our kids right from wrong. You can't let your son or your child drop a big old F you when they're mad at you, but you also have to go about it a certain way. And Doug does not know how. And that's what Rachel was trying to tell him. Like, your communication skills, they're not there. We have to fix it. Or it's going to cause a lot of problems in this family. So she says they need to go to therapy. And he's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to therapy. And she tells him, you will either communicate differently or get the F out of my house. And he says, I'm telling you, this is not what you want to do. You don't want to give me an ultimatum. And then she says, I think this conversation is over. And I'm like, congratulations, Rachel. That was great. I love seeing her take over that and just being like, no, this is not what we're going to do. You're going to live in my house? I'm going to take care of you? Your son's going to be here, and I'm trying to help you guys out. But I'm not going to allow you to be this way towards him. She even says at one point, like, break the cycle. You got to break the cycle. We can do better. I want to help. And he's like, we're going to do it my way or the highway. And she's like, no, bud, my way or the highway. So I'm trying to think if we got to see anything for them for next week. I don't think so. Hopefully they will be on next week's episode. We'll see. But I don't remember seeing anything. Next, we have Anissa and Jeff. Now, it ended with Jeff telling Kyle that he has a big secret. So what's the big secret? They're sitting outside. They've just finished breakfast. Anissa is in the house. And Jeff tells Kyle that he has an 18-year-old son and that Anissa does not know this. So he tells the story years ago. He had this girlfriend named Christine. She got pregnant. He got locked up while she was pregnant, but they would talk. And then when she had the baby, he called the hospital. And Christine's mom answered the phone and told Jeff the baby was not his. So they stopped communicating after that, and he didn't think the baby was his. But when he got put in the halfway house, he started talking to Christine, and they had a DNA test done, and it come back that the child is his, and the child is 18 years old. Now, my question is, you've been talking to Anissa for 11 years, and you never thought to mention that there was this one time that you thought you had a kid, or that there was a possibility that you had a kid? Not once? That's a little shocking, but okay. So Jeff tells Kyle this information, and he's like, please don't tell Anissa. I'll tell her. I just want to wait for the perfect time to tell her. Kyle says in a confessional that if Jeff doesn't tell Anissa, that he will. He's like, I should not be the one that he's telling right now. It should have been Anissa. I will give him a little bit of time, but if he don't tell her, I will tell her. Jeff also says in the confessional that this is like a test, that he's doing this to see if Kyle will keep this secret or if he will betray him and run his mouth to Anissa. Now, this is my thing. Kyle is not your friend, Jeff. Kyle is Anissa's friend. So the right thing for Kyle to do would be to tell Anissa. You know, maybe give you a little bit of time just to see if you're going to do it. But if he feels like you're not, that's his friend. So he needs to be loyal to her, not you. Now, later on in the episode, Anissa brings her friend Penny over. Penny was the lady that went dress shopping with Anissa. Penny gets to meet Jeff for the first time. And they're talking about work. She's like, what have you done for work? Have you ever had a job or anything? And he says, no, he's never had a job. Anissa even says he's never even went shopping, like for clothes or anything. So he says, I do want to get a job. And I want to save my money. This is what he says. He says, I want to get a job, save my money for a motorcycle, some Gucci pants, and some new teeth. So that's what he wants to do. Get some new teeth, Gucci pants, and a motorcycle. And he claims that back in the day that he never wore anything other than designer clothes. I find that hard to believe. Next week's episode, we see what appears to be Jeff running and attacking Kyle. Now, I'm assuming that Kyle went ahead and told Anissa about this baby, and that's where 18-year-old. It's like it's new news, so automatically my mind goes to like it's a baby. No, I'm assuming that Kyle told Anissa about this 18-year-old child that he has, and that's why Jeff is attacking Kyle. That's what we'll see next week for their segment of the episode. So now, Brittany and Ray. So Ray gets out of the halfway house. He does make the decision to ride home with his girlfriend, Brittany. They get to her house. They spend their first night together. Brittany says that it was a really good night. She says that Ray is a love maker and it is the best that she has ever had. Don't they always say that? Like when they're with the person, oh, it was so great. Then when they break up, it's like, you ain't nothing. You wouldn't. Anyways, next morning, they wake up. They talk about how they could just lay in bed all day. But then Shady Granny messages Ray and tells him to get up because she's coming over to visit and bring food. So they get up, they get the house tidied up, and then Granny shows up with some clothes and with some chicken. Now, right after she walks in, she makes this comment. Oh, I do have to say that Brittany is aggravated that Granny's coming over. She's like, we just saw her yesterday. We don't need to see her again. Why can't she wait a few days? So Brittany's aggravated. Granny gets there. She comes in and she says something about, oh, I know it's early, but that's okay, right? That's okay? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And then she asks Ray if Brittany is a good cook. And he says, yeah, she's a good cook. And she says that she's keeping an eye on them. That's literally what she says. She says, it appears that you have a good woman, but I'm keeping my eye on you guys to make sure she's a good woman. Because if she isn't, I'm going to say something. Literally, she's sitting there in Brittany's house telling her, like, you look like you're a good woman, but I'm going to make sure you're a good woman. They sit down, they eat dinner. As they're eating, the grandmother brings up Brittany's mom. she's like, so Ray, what do you think about Brittany's mom? And Ray drops the bomb that he has not met her. And the grandmother's like, why have you not met Brittany's mother? So Brittany kind of takes over and she's just like, I'm waiting for the right time because he was in prison. They don't know that he's out yet, but because he was in prison, they already have like this bad idea of him. And I just want to give it a little bit more time so I can figure out how to do it. I want it to be at the right time. I don't want them to judge him, but I feel like they will. And the grandmother is like so shocked. She's like, what? You're hiding Ray out? So you're basically hiding your relationship? You haven't told your parents about Ray? And Brittany's like, no. They know about him. They just don't know that he's out. They don't know that he's living here. So the grandmother is like, if you're not ashamed of him, then you need to tell your people. You need to be honest with your people. Before Granny gets up to leave, she tells Ray, she says, listen, if you're ever uncomfortable here or you ain't getting the respect that you deserve, you just call Granny. I come get you. And Ray's like, yes, ma'am, I know you will. The look on Brittany's face, obviously she was offended by that because this woman is literally sitting in her house basically implying that Brittany is not going to show him the respect that he deserves, or Brittany's not like going to make him uncomfortable somehow in the house, that she's opened up to him. I would be a little upset about that too. I'm not even going to lie. Next week's episode, Ray finally meets her family, but that's all we see, them showing up, him going to the door to answer, and that's it. So that's going to be exciting to see how her family interacts with Ray. Next, we have Courtney and Josh. So things have really not been going well with them. He's been out for about 12 days, and they've only done the grown-up 3 times. All he wants to do is play on his PlayStation, Xbox, whatever it is, or talk on the phone to the inmates that are still in jail that he's really good friends with. And that's what she's talking about. So when their scene starts, he's like in the kitchen, like making a soup, and she yells like, hey, Josh, you want to do the grown-up? And he's like, nah, maybe later. So in a confessional, that's when she tells us, like, they never do it. She tries all the time. He always turns her down, and she don't understand what's going on here. He walks back to the room, and she tells him, you never want to do it. He's like, yeah, we do it all the time. And she's like, no, we don't. What is the problem here? Like, why don't you want to be affectionate with me? Why don't you want to make love to me? What is the deal? And she said, you know, when you were in prison, you would call and you would tell me all these things about how you were going to be affectionate with me, how you couldn't wait to live with me so you could just walk up from behind me and wrap your arms around me and hold my hand and XYZ, all these affectionate things. She said, now that you're out, you don't do that at all. And I need this. Like, I feel like something's wrong here. I don't understand what it is. And he tells her that he's doing all that he can do. He's like, I'm trying hard. And then he tells us in a confessional that he was in jail for 11 years in a maximum security prison where he had no cellmate. So this is new for him to live with someone. Like, things will bother him because he's so used to being by himself. Also, even to be intimate with someone is hard for him. So she basically tells him that she's not happy with it. She gets up to walk out the door, and she reminds him of how much she lost just having this relationship with him. She's like, I put everything on the line for you. I done everything. I gave up everything for this relationship. And now, like, I don't even know if it was worth it for me because you can't be affectionate with me. And then she storms out of the house, and she just kind of leaves Josh sitting there kind of upset because he asked her several times. He's like, can we not do this? Can it not turn into an argument? Like, I don't want it to turn into that. And she's like, no, this is a problem. So I do feel like I kind of understand where he's coming from a little bit. Like, 11 years by himself, no cellmate. And now all of a sudden you jump right into being with this woman who, you know, wants to be affectionate. It probably is a hard transition. So maybe she's being a little too tough on him. I don't know, you guys. You guys let me your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Are you guys on Courtney's side with that or Josh's side? 11 years, no cellmate, kind of tough. Or do you guys think, nope, he's been gone for 11 years. Now he's with his wife. He can be affectionate with her. Also, you guys leave me your thoughts on Ray's grandmother. What do you think about her? Rachel, I'm so shocked to see how she just kind of stood up for her and Dougie. I thought that was awesome. Nicolle, you guys. I can't even with that girl. After that episode aired, Daonte, he was on an airplane at the time that it aired, but he did watch it. When he got off, he did go live. I didn't get to watch all of it, but I did talk to him, and he did not know that things transpired that way. Like, he had no idea that she went ahead and went with Zach and that she slept with Zach. Like, that was all news to him. So this is kind of like opening up old wounds again for him to even watch this. She did not tell him that that's what happened after he left. So I'm excited for next week's episode, you guys. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you finally excited to see Daonte stand up and just go off on Nicolle? I know I was. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button down below. I think out of all the people that watch my channel, only like 30% of them are even subscribed. So please hit that subscribe button. It will really help me out. Give the video a thumbs up. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.